Guys, it's crunch time. Time flew by and all of a sudden Christmas is right around the corner, and so is the end of the year, and I still have all these scraps to use in my distash mission. And I'm thinking a nice, simple, scrappy Christmas project is in order. So today we are making easy, quick, one-of-a-kind, scrappy Christmas pot holders. Because maybe there's one person in your gift list you completely forgot about and you need a gift for. Or maybe you need to make a special gift, something that lets that special person know you've put some thought and care into it and you want to make it yourself, of course. Or maybe your budget is blown and you need to find a way to make something cute and Christmassy without spending a lot of money, or any money really. And you are running out of time, my friend. Whatever the case may be, this is the video for you. Okay, so here's what we'll need. Scraps of fabric, loads of them, and a couple of strips if we need more, to cut into scraps. So these are my Christmassy scraps right here, all sorts of shapes and sizes. Okay, that was not important. I have mostly strips. That's why these are essentially cut strips, left over from the strips I cut. I think it was for the wreath. Oh, I learned how to say wreath. Okay, so scraps, loads of them. Then we need two 8-inch squares of iron-on adhesive, and I'm using Heat and Bond because I love it. It's what I usually use. So two 8-inch squares. And then we need four 9-inch squares. These aren't very squarey, but I will trim them eventually. So four 9-inch squares of batting, and this is some leftover from my quilts right here. It is 100% cotton. And then there's this stuff. I don't really know what to call it. Heat resistant batting. In Portuguese we call it a heat resistant blanket. It's essentially what makes sure you can use the pot holders without getting burned. I think it's called Insult Bright in the US, and I will be adding a link in the description for it if you want to check it out after this video, okay? Now granted, 2 layers of thick cotton batting might do the trick, but I think it's best to add this middle layer to make sure it is 100% safe. It's also a good layer to have if it catches fire because it doesn't burn. I think I will be using it, 3 layers, but this is looking a little bit thick. This is actually a dual layer, I think. I'm not gonna mess with this. So maybe I'll just use 1 square of batting and 1 of these and call it a day. That might work, I don't know, I will decide eventually. And then I will also need two 11-inch squares of fabric for the back of our pot holders, and of course a glue pen to help us lay out the scraps, essentially. Okay, so first things first, we need one of these squares. And whatever I do, I will do once to show you guys, but in fact I will be doing twice because we are doing a pair of pot holders, okay? But you don't need to watch me do, the same thing twice, I think. If you want to watch me do it twice, just watch the video 2 times. My engagement will appreciate it. So we are just going to cover this square with scraps, and we are going to use the glue pen to stick them in place, before ironing them on definitively. So here you go. Now we are making pot holders here, but this design will also work very well like as a hot pad, those pads you put the casseroles on. Now you can totally overlap the fabrics. You'll probably have to if you want to cover the whole thing. Now this doesn't need, I know I'm doing it kind of, strippy, but we don't need to do this. We can just do whatever we please. You can go outside the lines, of course, outside the margins. We will trim it afterwards, so not a problem with that. You can just scatter them all around and then see what you get. I can't really think of anything, easier to make than this. This really is so simple. The perfect project for someone who doesn't have a lot of time. And the reason why I have put these pins here is because, the Heat and Bond is round. It comes in a roll. And so I can't really unroll it. I can't press it straight or anything because it's iron-on adhesive. So this is the only way I can actually get this to be straight. You can cut the scraps, of course, if you think they're too big. and they're overlapping too much. You can totally do that. You can pick when you're overlapping which of the fabrics you want it to go up and which you want to hide more. I really love this white fabric with the cute little animals on it. So that one is definitely getting shown as much as I can. And don't worry if this looks like, you know, a 6-year-old made it. It will look nicer before we're done, I promise, okay? Do not despair. Do not get worried. This will work. I have done so many of these, guys, and they always work. They're absolutely stunning once we're done with them. Okay, last one, and here we have it. Our top is complete, looking really Christmassy, really colorful. I absolutely love it. And now we just need to press this in place. So let's just do that. Don't push the iron around, okay? That's not what we want. We don't want the fabrics to move. We want them to stay exactly where we put them. We just need to press, you know, to activate the glue and make sure they will stay exactly where we want them forever. And yes, some of these pieces aren't going to be 100% glued down because they're overlapping, and that is okay. Do not worry about that, okay? Yes, you can trim the excess off if you want to, but if you don't, it's fine too. Let me just see how it looks. Yeah, a little bit of fabric to trim, not too much. And I think we are done with this step, and this is what it looks like. So now we want to trim the excess off real quick. Just removing the excess fabric. More scraps, I know. I don't think I'll be able to use those to anything other than as filling. I do use my scraps as filling sometimes, and it works pretty well. I mean, it's fabric, it's soft fabric, so how could it not? So this is what we have. This is nice and trimmed, and now we want to iron this top onto the top layer of our batting. Okay, so here, this is what we're doing. So we are going to remove the back, the protection layer of our adhesive, and we are going to place this somewhat in the middle of our batting, okay? And now we just press it on again. And now it's time to make our multi-layer sandwich. So this is our top, and again, let's see, should we do it like this? I think this is gonna be way too large, way too tall for a holder. Yeah, I don't think we need the back layer actually, so yeah. I am just going to use one batting, one heat resistant blanket, and this is what it will look like. And now it's time to quilt. You know, we could do the top and then add the bottom layer, but you know me, I'm a big fan of Quilt As You Go, and I love looking at the quilting at the back of the pot holder. It just makes it that more special. So I am just going to get the back of my fabric. I'm just going to iron it real quick. And look at this, guys. How cute is this? Has golden accents, it's red, it's green, all good things about Christmas. Let's just go ahead and trim our batting. You want like 1/2 inch, maybe even less. This is nice and trimmed. It is in the middle of it. Yeah, I like it exactly as it is. And now let's do the quilting. Now I'm thinking of 2 possible ways to quilt this. Free motion quilting, always a fan, you know that. Or we could do a really tight diamond pattern to make sure none of these scraps move or lift, you know, the ends or something like that after we're done with them. What do you think would work the best? Let me know if you agree with my decision. Because my decision is to make it traditional and just quilt a diamond grid into these, okay? Now I would say the simplest way to know exactly where to sew is to use like chalk or a marker that comes off with washing and just make some lines, and that's exactly what we'll be doing. So let's see how we can do these little diamond shapes. So we start at the middle, of course, and we need to decide exactly how so this is one of the lines. So now let's make it an inch. Yeah, I really want it to be tight. I don't want any like ends to pop off after it's done, because it would ruin the whole effect. I'm actually considering, now I think one is good. This is the kind of pattern where if you're not really careful about it, it will show. It's not the most forgiving. I would never mark the fabric like I'm doing. If it was forgiving, I would just go with it, but a diamond pattern is not very forgiving, so you may as well do this. Okay guys, let's pin this down. I'm not using the safety pins, I'm using the regular pins. I am not using a walking foot or anything like that. You can if you want to, okay? I am just gonna do it as easily as I possibly can and see what I get. Okay guys, so these are our two pot holders. This one looks really cute with the Santa. I ended up doing 1/2 inch because I really wanted this to be nice and tight. I really didn't want, you know, the scraps to move, so I figured it was better to do it this way. Look at this back, guys. It is so gorgeous, so gorgeous. It's not perfect, not by a long shot. It doesn't have to be, okay? Okay guys, so we've made the top and we've quilted it, and now we need to bind it. And as you may have figured out, we'll be doing some self-binding pot holders, because I promised you simple and easy, and I think I've kept my promise so far, don't you? So let's see, how do we do this? So this is actually easy enough. We just fold it over and we make our binding just like so. Okay, doesn't need to be very thick, it just needs to end over our top, and then we just use our little quilting clips to keep it in place, and we will be machine sewing it. Okay, you don't need to hand sew this one. You know, I usually like to hand sew my batting, but for this one, I think it will look nicer if it's sewn by machine, because that way you will have, you know, a seam at the back. Let's clip this in place. Oh, guys, this is so cute. I hope the video does it justice, because in person, it is the cutest little thing. It's even cuter than that mug rug we did a couple of weeks ago that you guys loved. This is cuter. And it's easier, I think. Just the fact that I don't have to cut all those squares, just the fact that they don't have to be, you know, completely close to one another. This is just an easy project, an easy, fun, cute project, and those are the best. Okay, now for our corners. This is actually a nice thin fabric, so that shouldn't be a problem to miter these corners like that. So you just fold them in until they are diagonal and they meet the right place. You know, we don't want to go over, don't want to go under. We want them exactly where the corner is, like that. And then we pin. And this is what we get. Our 2 pot holders. Look at the back. Look at how cute this is, guys. So beautiful. Oh, this is incredible. And this is it, guys. Our unique, one-of-a-kind pot holders. Really safe, really fun to do, really easy to... the perfect Christmas gift. Guys, thank you for doing this with me. I hope you had a blast. I know I did. And I will see you really soon. Bye bye.